After scouring the Roblox catalog, we found 18 of the best roleplay UGC emotes that you can buy today and use for your roleplays. Consider subscribing to help us hit 500k. Let's get started. We're starting with 4 law enforcement related emotes, and this one here is Hands-on Vest, made by our good friends down at The Hague Roleplay. You may remember Flaunt from quite a few of our videos a while back. But either way, this one's quite a useful one. A lot of games like ERLC don't currently have a hands-on vest idling emote like this, and so it's quite a useful one. You can see we've got Ollie over here in game as our test dummy for this video. Hands-on vest, I think it looks pretty clean. Depends as well which vest you're wearing, and you can see with the blocky arms, it's quite hard to position them in a way that you are actually holding a vest, but I think this one looks pretty good, and at least for 60 Robux right now, I'd take this one. Up next is the police belt rest pose. This one's going for 80 Robux. A quick disclaimer as well, for about a year or two, you may remember Roblox introduced dynamic pricing. So it had this price floor where basically every day the prices of UGCs would go up and down drastically. Thankfully that has ended, but there's now dynamic regional pricing. So depending on where you are in the world, the UGCs will cost possibly a bit different. Now, the emote Ollie's got in game here isn't actually the UGC. This is the one that ERLC provides on police and sheriff. But if you're looking for an animation for security, civilian, DOT, FD, basically any other team or role that you want to roleplay as, then the belt hold can be for you. They are slightly different, as you can see. This one cuts into the waist a bit, but overall, I think it's a pretty solid animation, and for 80 Robux, quite a bargain. Cop directing traffic, and this one's going for 130 Robux. Now, if you want to spend that much money on an emote like this, it is useful for traffic roleplays, traffic control, anything like that. Roblox actually offers one called the beckoning emote, which kind of does the same thing, directing traffic, and is not 130 Robux, but I just thought I'd include this one since this is the closest one I could find to actual traffic control. This is how it looks in game. The loop isn't perfectly lined up, as you can see, but it does a pretty good job regardless, and it looks nice in photos. Up next is this for police cuffed. Now again, we do have something like this in game with being detained, but obviously for roleplay purposes, if you want to look like maybe you're in zip ties or you're tied up, whilst not necessarily actually being detained in the game, then this is pretty useful. This is how it looks in game, and I'm actually quite a big fan of this emote. I think it looks really good, tied up, maybe zip ties behind your back. You can use this for a variety of different scenarios here, whilst not necessarily having to be detained. Maybe you could also use this to trick the cops, I don't know. Up next is this CPR emote. Again, something we do currently have in game on the fire department, but not something any of the other teams can access. So I was pretty intrigued to check this one out, and it's currently going for 50 Robux. Now, I'd love to like this emote, honestly, but whilst we were testing it, we found that your head just clips through the ground. And so unless you're on some elevated platform or something, you're always just going to be sticking your head through the ground or the patient's head, which is a bit strange. But I really like the detail that's gone into this. Maybe you can find some better way to use it if you elevate yourself, or yeah, I'm not sure. It's just, it hasn't worked out whilst we were using it, honestly. Crouching. Now, this one is made by me. If you want to buy another one, that's completely fine as well. There are a variety of different crouching emotes on the marketplace, but this one's quite good because it allows the upper torso to move freely, which allows you to use a lot of the props in ERLC. Now, this is all footage from a video we filmed on our Clips channel a couple months back when this emote initially released, but you can see it's great because it works with the ERLC gun system. Currently, you can't crouch in game, so this allows you to crouch whilst using a weapon, staying a bit more concealed. You can see it's used for snipers on rooftops or SWAT breaching a building. It can also be used for FD holding a hose. Kind of works perfectly because then you can actually have someone standing behind them, role-playing that out. Or you can use it for medical treatment of someone on the ground. Plenty of use cases for this, honestly. I think this one works really well integrated in ERLC. Back onto the law enforcement side of things, and this is Suspect Search, currently going for 55 Robux. And similar to the pat down emote we have in game, this allows you, I guess, to pat someone down. which is quite neat, especially if you want to use this for some security type roleplay and you're not necessarily on law enforcement. So here is the pat down. I think this works quite nicely. You can see the arms aren't technically connected to the body at some points, but I think this does a really good job and definitely gives me some TSA sort of vibes from this. Again, we do have a search emote if you're using the handcuffs on law enforcement in ERLC, but great for other games or other teams that don't necessarily have that emote. Seizure. Now this is quite a popular one, 160,000 favorites as you can see, and well, it's quite an interesting one. I guess you can use it for a variety of different medical role plays, especially if you're a victim on a scene. This is how it looks in game. If we just go and equip that there, and yeah, just straight on the floor. So, I mean, you've probably heard about this one already. Would not be surprised at all, but I thought I'd include it since it technically could be a useful one for medical sort of role plays. Up next is Arthur Morgan Coffin. A little bit of a Red Dead reference here. This one's currently going for 100 Robux, at least for me. I quite like this one. Again, it's sort of a medical, sort of civilian emote that you can use as he's coughing and falls to the ground. Again, we got Ollie here as our test dummy in game, coughing as they stumble down, fall to the ground. Bit of a slip there, and then they're coughing and roll over. I quite like that one. They then return to a standing position, not completely upright, bit tipsy. Up next is Nonchalant Sit. This one's got 32,000 favorites. Again, quite a popular one. And there's plenty of different types of these. Relax It, Aura Sit. I've even got one over here, Sitting. They're all just different variants of sitting emotes. I probably don't really need to show you these in game, but there's plenty of them for you to peruse on the catalog. Next two, we're going to show you side by side. We've got a push up by Moon Emotes, and then we've got a one-handed push-up by Toon. Both the emotes here in-game side by side. I'm obviously putting in a bit more effort than Ollie, but seemingly at a fairly similar tempo. This one has a bit more movement. As you can see, it's almost like my knees are touching the ground. I promise you they're not. I promise you I'm doing a proper push-up, but there you go. Both the normal push-up and one-handed push-up here in-game. Up next is Sit Up, again by Emote Locker. Gotta get those abs. Yeah, exactly. 50 robots going for this one. Honestly, I'm kind of making this look easy. My legs are not moving whatsoever. I'm going after these one after the other, multiple a second. Very impressive, if I may say so myself. But again, a good one for exercise if you want to put in some reps. Military Salute. Now, I'll show you in game how this differs to the Roblox saluting emote, which many of you have because I believe it was free, or is free as a matter of fact, but this one is an idle instead of an actual animation. Good for military groups, policing. I can see a variety of use cases for this one. Currently going for 50 Robux. I decided to dress up, fit the part with this one, got the military uniform on. I think this one looks pretty good. And again, this one's an idle. So if Ollie brings up the normal one, you can see it's very exaggerated. This is the one that you can get on Roblox for free. I mean, it's good. I've used it for years now, but this one's good since, well, it's an idle animation rather than an actual emote. Up next is Hands Behind Back. Yes, I know this is very similar to one that we showed off earlier with handcuffed behind the back, but this is, I suppose, more similar to the At Ease animation for military groups. This is how it looks in game. It looks especially good if you're wearing a suit, I may add. There you go. Not too much to say about this one, honestly. This is Talking by True Golden, currently going for 50 Robux. Now, there isn't a lot going for this. I wouldn't buy this if you're limited on Robux, but if you wanted to throw some at it and just grab some extra emotes for you to grab some pictures or I guess do randomly on scenes, then this one's kind of a cool one I thought we'd include. A little random conversation with each other using this emotes. I think it's quite effective, honestly, especially if you have the animated head. I think this could look pretty funny if you're just having some random conversations with some civilians on a scene. Jumping Jacks. This is one I published, I think it was about 10 minutes ago, honestly. It's a cool one, though, because I couldn't really find any other good ones like this on the catalog. Here it is in a game. I usually refer to these as star jumps, but apparently the most common name is jumping jacks. Use these in the military, police, training grounds, anywhere you think, but pull out some of these reps and we sit here doing these for hours. Crying tantrum sit. The name doesn't really make too much sense, but this one's 50 Robux for a pretty cool animation, if I say so myself. I could definitely see myself using this on roleplay scenes like car crashes or anything like that, being in a very traumatic event sitting at the side of the highway, but yeah, again, I think there's a lot of detail gone into this emote. So here's the emote in-game. Obviously ignore the fact that there's a massive smile upon my face, but again, it's pretty cool. For some reason, slightly sitting above the ground, but shouldn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And last but not least, sleeping on the floor. This one's going for 50 Robux and it's quite nice. Again, it's an idle one, just sleeping on the ground. You could be in an alleyway, you could be in an office, wherever you may be. There's plenty of different types of laying or sleeping animations. I just picked this one out since I thought the positioning looked pretty good. And there's Ollie sleeping in the alleyway. Again, I think this one looks great, honestly. Definitely going to use this myself, but you can see a tiny bit of movement there as he's snoring, but yeah, nicely sleeping in the corner of the alleyway. And that will wrap up today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you do have any questions or suggestions of other UGC emotes that you would recommend people using, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to check some out because it really is hard to find good roleplay emotes on the catalog when there's just spams of aura stuff. Either way, take care, subscribe to the channel to help us hit 500k, and I'll see you in the next one.